Let's get back to what happened in that deposition room, because there is a little leak here. This is starting to get really, really funny, because now the latest few things that Blake Lively's attorneys have done has given more evidence to Justin Baldoni.
She would be notified in advance who would be present. So why is this a surprise? Literally, your own article mentions that it's not a surprise, but of course, People Magazine got a simp for Blake Lively. But good for him for showing up. They're again lying to the judge. They also said that he says she's a narcissist who cannot accept how she's behaved. I mean, let's be honest, both of these quotes are true.
And showing receipts that everything that she was claiming was a lie. That was the real smear campaign.
Blake Lively just got exposed, and she's not taking it well. After getting caught lying during her deposition, the meltdown began. Talk about bold. The court isn't buying the act anymore, and now she's unofficially earned the title, Queen of Lies. She thought she could spin fairy tales on the record, but Justin Baldoni came armed with receipts. This wasn't just courtroom drama. It was a turning point.
Blake Lively has officially had her deposition, and she had to do it in front of Justin Baldoni.
This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, and it hit faster than anyone predicted. For months, Blake had been dodging and delaying, trying to buy time with every excuse in the book. But the day finally came. And let's just say, it didn't go her way. There she was, under oath, sitting across from Baldoni, with years of secrets bubbling just beneath the surface. The curtain was pulled back. No PR filter. Just the truth.
The chance for Justin's side to question her under oath, to really get the facts from her. And she's got to sit there and answer everything. She can't just ignore it or say no. She's got to answer questions, and she's got to tell the story. And will that story match up to her testimony later in court?
No one thought she'd actually show. Yet, shockingly, she did. The courtroom buzzed like a Hollywood premiere, but this time, the stakes were real. This wasn't a movie. It was a public reckoning. Every eye was on her, and the pressure was suffocating. One wrong move, one shaky answer, and it could all collapse. Her case, her image, her carefully crafted career. And Baldoni's team? Ready to pounce.
Deposition day. There's an article in the Daily Mail explaining that Blake Lively brought not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8 lawyers with her to the deposition on Thursday.
Let's unpack what really happened. A deposition might sound boring, but it's anything but. This is where the gloves come off. It's raw, it's direct, and it's unforgiving. No courtroom formalities. Just sharp questions and hard truths. It's you versus the opposing attorney. No script. No lifeline. Just your credibility on the line, and every word counts.
Blake Lively has finally sat down for her deposition. And I'll be honest, it surprised me because I didn't think she was gonna, but she'd continue to find more excuses. The fact that she's now sat for a deposition makes me think a settlement is now even further away from a possibility.
Here's where it all starts to crumble for Blake. A deposition is designed to dig deep, to strip away the image and expose the facts. And if you lie, you're done. Refuse to answer honestly? It only makes things worse. Especially when the person across the table is gunning for you. This wasn't a game, but it sure felt like one, with career-ending consequences. For Blake, this wasn't just testimony. It was survival.
The fact that Justin stepped up and showed up, which he's absolutely obligated to do and should do, because they're asking questions of her, and the only other person there who can really dispute or challenge is him.
This isn't just another scandal splashed across a gossip site. This is real. The long, bitter standoff between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has finally hit its boiling point. What started as whispers and finger-pointing has now turned into full-on legal warfare. Allegations. Smear campaigns. Media spin from both sides. It's been years of public fallout, one headline messier than the next. But now, with this deposition, the moment of reckoning has arrived. No more deflections. No more PR filters. Just the cold, hard truth, ready to explode.
Good for him for showing up. It's much harder to lie to somebody to their face. It is. And so he had to sit there calmly, collected, and just take it. Again, he's been taking it for a long time.
But this wasn't just Blake giving her side of the story. No, this was her chance to defend it. Her shot to finally clear the air. Problem is, she didn't come with clarity, she came with contradictions. And seated directly across from her, longtime adversary, Justin Baldoni, she crumbled. Forget guilt or innocence. The real question was whether she could keep it together under pressure. And the answer? She couldn't.
Answer as little as possible, but answer. And so I'm sure she prepped, but no prep can handle the Friedman finger point and to try to like really unnerve her, which I'm sure there were moments that he tried to. Now, whether she took the bait, I don't know.
Let's talk about the entrance. Blake didn't walk into that deposition, she arrived like she was leading a parade. 8 lawyers in tow. 8. Add her sister, her best friend Robin, and husband Ryan Reynolds to the mix, and it looked more like a red carpet moment than a legal showdown. But plot twist, none of them went in with her. When it came time to actually face the music, she was alone, just her, Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and a table full of tension. And across from her, the man she spent years avoiding. Imagine the panic. Imagine the pressure. That wasn't confidence. That was survival mode.
He got special treatment, surprise, from Judge Lyman, so she could choose where she wanted to do this. Of course, because she's so famous, so she can do whatever she wants. So she chose to have the deposition at her attorney's offices, so everyone had to come there.
And oh, it gets better. Let's talk about the outfit. Blake showed up dressed like she was headed to a moody poetry reading, not a legal war zone, black jeans, black waistcoat, and a pale blue fluffy cardigan. No florals. No feminine charm. Just calculated chill. It felt like a costume meant to say, I've got this. But let's be real, beneath that cardigan? Full-blown panic. And where did this all go down? Not in court, of course. No, Blake had her deposition at her own lawyer's swanky office. Because when you're Blake Lively, even legal obligations come with premium seating. But don't be fooled by the soft lighting, leaks from the room are pouring in, and it's not looking good. In fact, Lively's team is now trying to get one of Baldoni's lawyers, Brian Friedman, labeled as more of a PR agent than a legal rep, arguing that since he gave past interviews, they should be allowed to dig through his messages with journalists and creators. Yep, they're grasping.
Lively's team is subpoenaing Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's attorney, and asking to see all his correspondence and emails and phone calls in and out of the office. It's bananas, you guys.
So what was the point of this legal fishing trip? Well, it was supposed to turn up something explosive. Instead, nothing. Absolutely nothing. They came up empty-handed. And now they're scrambling, sending out even more subpoenas like confetti. It reeks of desperation. Maybe they're hoping that if they throw enough stuff at Baldoni, something will stick. But let's not kid ourselves, this isn't strategy. This is a full-blown meltdown in motion.
They want to start fishing in Brian Friedman's office to see his correspondence with him and content creators or journalists.
And speaking of subpoenas, remember when Blake's team claimed they had a long list of influencers and media figures allegedly tied to a smear campaign? Turns out that massive list was more of a short guest list. Just a few names: Andy Senior, Perez Hilton, Candace Owens. That's it. Now, they're trying to widen the net, digging into more people's private messages in the hopes of finding something scandalous. But this isn't winning them sympathy. If anything, it's making Blake look paranoid and petty. This isn't legal brilliance, it's PR damage control gone rogue.
My Google or my YouTube channel was recently subpoenaed by Blake Lively's legal team, and they were after all my private information, my bank account details, my credit card, my home address, my phone number, my IP addresses, everything.
And then there's Rob Sullivan, the editor of It Ends With Us. Let's just say Blake's team didn't exactly handle things gracefully. When they couldn't reach him, they panicked. And what did they do next? They flooded the court with text messages to prove their efforts. But those texts backfired, big time. Why? Because they exposed something even worse, Blake Lively's obsession with control. The messages showed her demanding final approval over scenes that didn't even feature her. She was micromanaging flashback sequences involving younger versions of her character. That's not just overstepping, that's a full-blown power trip. And Baldoni's team? They just got handed gold.
Blake Lively's team really wanted to subpoena the editor of It Ends With Us. His name is Rob Sullivan. And Rob has been really hard to get hold of. Then they're saying to the judge, you know, we tried to get hold of him and we saw they had the TV on and the lights on, but he didn't open the door for us.
Here's the irony of it all. The text messages Blake's team submitted were supposed to help her strengthen her case, show she wasn't the villain. Instead, they practically gift-wrapped proof of her control issues and handed it to Baldoni's team on a silver platter. Thanks for the evidence, might as well have been the response. These messages didn't paint her as a victim, they exposed her power plays behind the scenes. Overreaching, micromanaging, obsessing. If this is her version of innocence, it's doing more damage than any accusation ever could.
Blake Lively's team voluntarily dropped these text messages and gave them to the judge. At this point now, I'm thinking, are they really on her side? Do they want her to lose this?
And then came the next misstep, one that had everyone raising eyebrows. Lively's team tried to subpoena Google and X. Yeah, Twitter's new name, to get account info on 5 content creators who dared to criticize her. But after all the noise and legal wrangling, they backed out. Subpoena withdrawn. 0 payoff. And a whole lot of bad press. Because when you start chasing critics like it's a personal vendetta, it starts to look less like justice and more like damage control. Meanwhile, in a separate twist, Baldoni's now suing his own insurance company for refusing to cover his legal expenses. Classic insurance duck and dodge. But Baldoni's not sweating it, he's got billionaire Steve Sawitz footing the bill. Translation, his side has deep pockets, endless resources, and zero intention of backing down.